Hey dudes!
Morning.
Welcome back to our countryside.
Today we decided that we haven't really spoken much about our plans for the future, so we decided we would sit down and we would answer some of the questions. So hope you would be interested in those too.
All the time we're just working, doing things, but sometimes it's just nice to sit down and talk for a bit.
And it's easier to produce videos like this as well.
Let's be honest.
Let's cheat a little, let's make a little Q&A, and we will update you on how our lives is going and what our plans for this summer.
The first thing we'll talk about is summer renovation plans. There's a list of things that need to be done so that we get to the end goal, and the end goal right now is for us to have a shower in our kitchen, but you have to go through a lot of different loops to get there. So the very first thing is we needed to remove the old floor, fix it up, and we'll put tiles on it. And then we'll check the situation with the walls, but after that we're gonna be able to do some plumbing and get a shower in.
I saw once that there was a comment on one of our videos that if we had a plumbing and water inside the house, our life would be easier. Actually, we do have. So for those, probably just need to go and check our other videos as well.
We'll put the video here somewhere.
Yeah, because we have water inside. We built it last year. And this year we need to finish the kitchen up, and then we would be quite comfortable living here.
We already mentioned this in our very first spring update, but we wanted to talk about our situation, how we're living here and we're not living here, and why there's less uploads than last year.
Just to be honest with you, we're not living here full time and we're not pretending to be. We have our double lives, so we still have an apartment in the city, and then when we are off and when there's a weekend we come here to the countryside. So for that, of course, we wanted to maybe tell you a little bit more, so how our lives are going with this and how we are managing.
YouTube doesn't pay that much for us to be able to afford living here, because even though we have our dream of self-sufficient living, it's not that realistic as people portrayed on YouTube. You still need money, even if you're here.
Some other YouTubers we've seen obviously are more into the lifestyle and maybe a bit more successful with their channels already and more established, so that's doable. For us, we still have a platform to grow. And to sustain us as it is right now, we do need our jobs, and so for the nearest future I kind of don't see how we could be able to live here full time just yet, because things are expensive and we need a lot of them here in the countryside, since the house is not finished yet and every little thing costs money. We will invest in our house and then slowly but surely can spend here more and more time. But what I'm thinking also is that maybe in a long run, I don't know, I don't want to put timeline on this, maybe we will figure a way to be able to live here, maybe some additional income. I really don't know at the moment what we could manage here, but maybe some good ideas will cross our minds, and maybe if you have any suggestions how you maybe live remotely with, I don't know, with selling some products or whatever, what could be profitable, let us know. We can consider. But at the moment we will be living in a city and a countryside.
Actually, that sounds really nice, to just make something yourself. Before we can even think about it, just like with the kitchen, with the countryside, there's a lot of little steps we need to finish just to be actually able to live here, and then figure out the income as well. But one day though.
Exactly. And then we can answer another question, which is maybe quite related to the previous things that we were talking about, is what are the difficulties or the downsides, or call it as you wish, for living in the countryside.
For me, the things that I would call the downsides is just a little bit more rough here. City life is incredibly comfortable. You just try to figure out your own problems because it's super simple. But countryside, everything takes a little bit more work. But still, in the end, it's so nice to be here and it's very rewarding. But yeah, I think it's just a little bit more extreme than a city life.
For me, sometimes I have this fear of not having access to things. Like, I have anxiety attacks sometimes about just like what would happen if our car broke down, what would happen if we needed, I don't know, electricity repaired, that kind of thing. Because when you're in a city, everything is just like 5 minutes away from you, and then here if something happens, kind of you're on your own, and then you try to figure. Because we moved to another city and actually another region of Latvia. We both are not from here, so we don't have any connections here, so there's not many people we could ask like on a spot.
Yeah, if we would need help, the nearest people would be in the capital, which is
or just from I don't know, internet and ads kind of thing.
Yeah, our car breaks down, then that's like the nearest bus stop is, I don't know, a couple of kilometers away, and the bus comes once a day, hopefully.
Once a week.
Yeah.
The thing is, I also wanted to mention about working from here where we are, because we do have access to the city. It's just about 30 kilometers away. I think in American scale it's not that big of a deal. I think people live in suburbs and drive that far every day, no problem. But for us, then we need to get 2 cars as well, because then we need to go to 2 jobs. And public transport is non-existent. Like you said, there's like maybe a bus a week, but you can't really rely on that to be able to go to your shift in the morning and then be able to come back. So that would be another expense on our part to get another car. And it just seems like obviously we can deal with all of these problems. It's just like it's not that simple, I guess.
Whatever it is, it's just a little bit more harder than the city.
Takes time to figure it out.
I think it's the perfect time to talk about the things we actually love here and why we keep coming here.
Let's brighten the mood, and there's not only problems, of course. Living in the countryside can be quite great.
The very first thing for me is definitely the birds that you hear in the background, because well, mostly the whole nature.
Yeah, it's always nice in the weekends, especially now in the spring. We're having some kind of summer weather already, so obviously the mood is up for me as well. It's all the smells of the nature. We have these bushes that are blooming, and just like all the air is quite nice.
I can't even explain how different air is from the city and the countryside. When we hop into the car in the city, you're just like, well, there is whatever, and you just spend a couple hours coming here, and then you open the car door and it just like
welcomes you.
Yeah, it welcomes you with the freshest possible air in the world. It's just so amazing.
For me, another plus or the upside is that I just feel here, I don't know, more calm and more happy. So whenever we are in the city and we are thinking about coming here, I'm a bit anxious because it's a long drive, and then we need to plan what we're gonna eat, what we're gonna wear. Now thankfully we have the washing machine, so it's been a lot easier on that side, so we don't have to carry like bags and bags of clothes. We can just wash them and dry them here, which is also a plus, to be honest. We've been drying our clothes outside, and it dries in like a couple hours in the sun, so you can do multiple washes if you need, no problem. But yeah, whenever I come here and we're finally here, then all the worries kind of disappear.
But I wanted to mention about the downsides, but then actually upsides, is that every time we come here we do some small updates, some renovations, some little things, and those harder, more extreme things get a lot easier every time. Just as you said about the washing machine, when we came here there was no plumbing, there was no water, so we bought our the garden hose so that we could actually have some water, and we washed our hands in the bucket outside and everything. So of course it's fun, but it's not easy. But then yeah, we spent a couple of days on the plumbing and water, so then you wash your hands and it's a lot easier, and then you can wash your clothes and it gets easier, and then you get heating and all the little things, and those hard things become nicer. And yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to say, I think you would definitely agree with me, is the incredible freedom we have here. I mean, city life is very restricted. It's comfortable, it's nice, but you pretty much are allowed to do the things that the government tells you to do.
Exactly.
But here, we just do whatever we want.
Yeah, I think when people say simple life and referring that to the countryside, I think they're so wrong. I think simple life is living in your apartment and doing nothing but your job, and then your chores that you have, like cleaning and washing, but in the apartment it's like so comfortable. I think that's simple life. I think countryside is a hard life, okay? And for anyone who is doing that full-time outside, I think that is a big respect from me, because I am also thinking me as a person who lives here and there, and I actually grew up in the countryside, and now I kind of find it again a bit difficult to adjust because I've been in a city for so long. I think I've lived almost 10 years in the city, like in multiple settings and jobs and cities and that kind of thing, since we traveled a lot. Now coming back to the countryside, it might be a bit challenging again to learn these ways of doing things. Even when I think about our neighbors, that when we pass through with our car coming here, we see all those houses and that they live here permanently. I have some sort of respect for them to be able to survive, because sometimes it is actually about surviving, because here in the summer, in the sun, I can tell you how wonderful air is and how great the life is, and that it's somewhat of inspirational kind of thing, and then just kind of hide the hard parts, so you think that, oh yeah, this is great, I want to live like this. And but then there are things that people don't tell you about, and there are winters and there are ice and snow and all these things to manage on your own when you're actually living here full time.
Here, you're the snowplow. In the city, there's always someone hired to clean the streets, everything's nice. But yeah, here, if no one else is doing it, you're gonna be snowed in.
You're gonna be stuck here.
Yeah, so if you in any case have some problems with insomnia and you can't fall asleep at night, the countryside is perfect for that, because you work so much here. All these little jobs, bringing the firewood, actually preparing the firewood throughout the summer, because when else...
Cutting the goddamn grass.
Yeah, then in the evening you just pass out and you have the perfect sleep because you're just so tired, but you're happy tired.
Actually, it's cheaper to live here in the countryside for one thing. You can get knocked out by one beer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One beer in the city is not the same as one beer in the countryside.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. Just enjoy your evening beer after work, no problem. Here in the hot sun, after working for hours relentlessly, you open one beer, you're like totally drunk.
Passed out. I think we can move to our last question/update. That is, when are we gonna bring animals to our countryside, and what are plans in this regard?
Of course, we look at the animals in different countrysides, in these farms, and then in the city they have little rabbits in the zoo stores.
Yeah, pet stores.
Pet stores, and we just like, they're incredible, they're adorable, but we're also responsible and realistic about it.
So far we already have a turtle that we're bringing to our countryside ventures each time we come here. Now he's quite happy to roam around, because now the grass is his plate for everything, dinner plate, you name it. So he is just, yeah, he's our responsibility. But of course we would like to have more, but for my side, as I see it, as we don't live here permanently, and until we don't live here permanently, we're not gonna bring any animals to this, because then we would need to carry them back and forth. And I can't imagine how hard it would be to carry a freaking sheep in our little beetle car.
It's not just having an animal here, you have to take care of it. Even if we would live here, you need to be done with other projects first so that you can take care of the animals, because that's going to be hard work too. They need to be fed and taken care of. Their house, our barn needs to be repaired, so that's another project before we can bring them in. But what animals would you like here?
Yeah, for me, I want the sheep because I like to knit. So I don't know, I would go back to old-fashioned roots and figure out how to make a yarn. Probably not that easy, I'm sure of it, but that would be funny at least to try to have a sheep. Then cats, we kind of have neighbors' cats roaming around, so that's kind of nice and freebie, but I would like one that we could actually pet, because those countryside cats are not that friendly. Let's put it that way. They just like kind of run away from you. And then a mini horse I would like, a pony. That would be kind of cute. But of course, being realistic, only after we finish our house we can start to plan on getting some of these animals. What are your preferences?
I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I'm definitely getting chickens. And I would also like rabbits.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of into the smaller animals, but yeah, I think they would be easier to taking care of. But yeah, some things they would help with both rabbits and your giant animals. They would eat the grass, which would be, I don't think they would eat the whole thing, but
I think they could eat a lot.
Yeah, but at least they would help with cutting the grass, so
Yes.
that would be a bonus. And apparently you get a fertilizer from all the animals for our garden, which would be nice.
Yeah, that would be really good, because so far we fertilize from our pond, which actually, by the way, if you're in the countryside, then you don't want to spend money on fertilizers like the fancy ones. And if you have a pond, you can just like go and dig everything that's underneath the pond, like all the winter leaves and whatever the slug is out underneath. Put it in the back bucket and then put it on your vegetables, because last year when we did that, our cucumbers grew in 1 week and started to produce in crazy amounts. So we're doing that this year as well.
Countryside life hack.
Yeah.
Alright, that was our little update from here in the countryside. We still have a couple of uploads almost ready, and we'll share more of our renovations and how our garden is doing. So let us know which parts are you more interested.
What if you have any ideas for videos that you think that countryside people do? Maybe we can give you some tips on updates or how we're doing it.
And vice versa, if you already have some advice that you could give us about our life here and our double life and everything like that, then yeah, share it with us. We would be very interested. We always see a couple of advice comments, and yeah, I think they're very useful.
Exactly.
So we're gonna end the video here. We still have things to do, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video.
You can go check our Patreon, and you can subscribe to our channel, and you can leave a comment if you like this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.